My peoples, my peoples. Welcome to another episode of Boxing for Breakfast, where you get your healthy dosage of sweet science early in the morning. Yo, Gabriel Pujroy. Salute my brother Young Guns in the building, underrated Will. What's the dilly, my brother? Yo, we talking boxing. Y'all know how we do it. Jaron Ennis versus Uisma Lima is going down on Saturday, my peoples. Now, we all know that Boots is going to be making his debut at the 154 division. Is his power going to carry up with him? Is Boots going to get the stoppage? We was talking about it earlier, also in the chat. Uisma Lima, based on the footage that I've seen, I haven't seen a full fight of his, but based on the clips I've seen, he looks like he could fight, right? But now he's gonna fight Jaron Ennis. That's a different ball game. Superman, bam, cup of noodles. Whoa, that's breakfast, or you talking about a fighter? Look, it's hard for me to say how this fight plays out. I know how it's supposed to. What's supposed to happen is that Boots knock him out, right? On paper, Boots has all of this experience, world champion. Uisma Lima never fought at that stage. He's supposed to get knocked out, right? But you know there's always a dark horse out there. And you don't know if Uisma Lima is one of them. Just remember, my peoples, up until this dude fought Tim Tszyu, Bakra Mortasaliev, we didn't know him. He was just some dude. So Uisma Lima is just some dude right now. The Hydro Grind. Good morning, my people. Jay Smith, Superman. We in the building. Salute, my brother. Appreciate you dropping in, man. You know we talking boxing, how we do. The Hydro Grind. When in the world will Boots get a real challenge? Whoa. That's the question you coming in. The Hydro Grind is coming in hot. I'm going to tell you right now. I believe that Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz is going to happen early 2026. For that to happen, that means it's going to be his next fight. Because he's going to fight, and then Virgil's going to fight. So if they're going to fight early next year, they'd fight each other after that. I know that they've been saying that Boots wants 2 tune-ups before fighting Virgil. But if they do that, then they're not going to fight early next year. That fight will be in the middle of the year. So let's see how that plays out. But honestly, the Hydro Grind, I believe that we're going to see Boots with one of the big boys soon. He's going to fight Virgil. And let's see how that looks. Jaron Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz. Number one, that's a fight that we've been calling for since they was both at the welterweight division. I think it's already been, it's been a couple of years of us saying, yo, we want this fight. Number two, it almost seems to be split right down the middle. There's a group of people that's like, nah, yo, Boots too nice for him. The movement, the footwork, the skills, the switching, orthodox southpaw, all of that is gonna be too much for Virgil. And then there's the people that say, nah, yo, Virgil is gonna break him down. Virgil is gonna break him down. So that's a fight that I believe is gonna be a big fight, super fight, and I can't wait because I do see it happening. Superman, but today isn't the day for Lima. Look, I didn't think that day was gonna be the day for Bakram either. I thought Tim Tszyu was gonna bait him up. Oh, this guy that we never heard of. Sometimes I make the mistake too of sleeping on people like that. Superman, it fits because Virgil also comes forward. But he's a slugger. That listen, Jaron Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz. Number one is a big fight because of the fan base that they bring. You know, you're talking about the Mexican fighter versus the African American fighter. Classic matchup. We've seen it so many times. Right there, that makes it a huge fight. Both undefeated, both in their prime. Come on now. Jaron Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz is a big fight. And it's competitive too. I don't see nobody getting washed. I see a very competitive fight. And the better man is gonna win. The guy who does what they want to do that night is gonna win. Mario De Bruyne, what do you think about Bakram? Look, bro, Bakram Murtasaliev is a very dangerous fighter. And I'm gonna tell you why. Number one, he's a big dude, man. He big. He got long reach. He's strong. Power. Aggressive. Combination puncher. Lets the hands fly. A fighter like that is problematic because when you trade leather with him, he not scared to let the hands go. So up until this point, nobody's been able to beat him. He's a problem. And we don't see, I don't think I've seen anybody say, yo, I want to fight that guy Bakram. I don't see nobody trying to take that title from him right now. So he a problem. The Hydro Grind. Lima won 12 rounds against a guy from India. I'll leave it at that. Marie De Bruyne. Against who do you want to see him fight? I mean, I want to see Bakram have the opportunity to unify titles. I'd like to see him fight Fondora. Bakram Murtasaliev versus Sebastian Fondora. They both beat Tim Tszyu. They both stopped him, in fact. Superman, I was watching Lima, and what he does, shaking my head. Very tailor-made for the highlight reel. We're going to see, man. We're going to see. Is he going to be a dark horse and pull off the upset? And you know what's interesting? When a fighter like that comes around, there's going to be a lot of people putting money on him, just hoping on the upset. Al Booger, salute my G. Bam. There's going to be people putting money on Uisma Lima. But we know Jaron Ennis is on a mission. I think it's obvious that he's the favorite to win this fight. And that's what I expect to happen. Is it going to be a knockout? That's the only thing I have a hard time predicting. Is it going to be a knockout? It should be a knockout, right? It should be because, you know, the difference in experience. Boo's a championship caliber fighter, already unified titles, already been on the big stage. Uisma Lima, a guy that we never heard of. So what's supposed to happen, even though Boost is moving up, is that he's going to knock him out. But I've never seen a full fight of Uisma Lima. So I don't know how good he can take a shot. I don't know how good he's going to be, you know, at evading Jaron Ennis. So those factors, you know, need to be taken into consideration. The fight could go 12 rounds just off of the fact that what if Boo's power don't carry up to 154? So we can make all the assumptions in the world. We're about to find out. We're about to find out. Superman. It is a Toonie Tune. A Looney Tune? Superman, so we understand the highlight to come. Is it going to be a highlight? I don't know, man. I don't know. Sometimes fighters don't cooperate and they don't give you that highlight that you want to see. Look at Karen. Karen didn't cooperate. Look at the first time Boost got in there with Karen. Karen didn't follow the script. And he was like, nah, homie, I'm here to stay. So, let's see. I will say Karen on paper is a better fighter than Uisma Lima because you got to remember Karen is an Olympian, if I'm not mistaken, an Olympic silver medalist. So Karen is a guy who has amateur pedigree, who you know he can fight. And he gave Boots prop. And by the way, my peoples, you have to also consider the fact that styles make fights. You're not always, you're not gonna look good against everybody. So let's see. Let's see. On paper, Jaron Boots Ennis is supposed to knock Uisma Lima out before the 10th. Slape him. But that's on paper. That's only on paper. Superman. Karen does his numbers. Now, yo, Karen can fight. The thing about a fighter like that, man, Karen, if you think about it, has a similar style to Madrimov, where they constantly feigning. So fighters like that, it's very hard to time them. You know the type of condition that you have to be in to fight like Madrimov fought Crawford or like Karen fought Boots, where you're constantly doing this throughout the whole 12 rounds. You got to be in extremely great shape to pull that off. The Monk, you're the man. Appreciate it, brother. Bam. Marie De Bruyne, what do you think about Benavidez versus Beterbiev? Most people say Benavidez will stop Beterbiev. Do you also believe that? I see David Benavidez beating Arthur Beterbiev. If that fight happens, Beterbiev is going to be 41 years old already, or maybe even 42. So I see Benavidez beating him. I'm not going to say stopping him. I'm not sure about the stoppage. I always say this to people. You should not predict that an undefeated fighter who's never even been hurt is going to get stopped. That's a crazy prediction to make, that, in my opinion. That's why when people were predicting that Canelo Alvarez was going to knock Terence Crawford out, I laughed at that. Like, how do you predict that a guy who's never even been dropped in his whole career is just going to get knocked out? Oh, no, because he's big and strong. That's not how boxing works. So Beterbiev is a fighter who never been knocked out. His only loss, a split decision versus Dimitri Bivol. So I don't see him getting knocked out. Benavidez beat him up, put all type of hands on him. But Beterbiev, man, he could take a shot, bro. He could take a shot. The Monk, bro, it's a real one. Practice make perfect. Real fighter advice here. Love your shadow boxing. Still got the moves. Appreciate it, family. Yo, listen. But I tell people, look, as a fighter, I'm washed. But as an analyst, as a creator, I promise y'all, I'm in my prime. In fact, I'm peaking. I'm peaking, my peoples. But check it. Your boy J Smith still got a little something. Look. If I gotta let the hands fly, I think I still could do a little damage. If I have to, if I need to. The Monk, once a fighter, always a fighter. You know it. You know it. You ain't never lied. True Monk. So true wisdom of fighting takes a lifetime learning. Man, you spitting facts, bro. The Peacemaker now. You know it. But check it, my peoples. Superman. I'm washed. Yo, I'm washed. As a fighter, though, as an analyst, Jay Stradamus, man, listen. Peaking, baby. Look, Jaron Boots Ennis, we all expect them to score the knockout. Is he going to? We're going to find. And you know what? I think that he needs the knockout. I think that he needs the knockout. Why? Because if the fight goes 12 rounds, you know how the criticism is. You know how it go. People gonna say, oh, look. He couldn't even stop this guy. He don't got no power at 154. Ooh, Fundora's gonna sleep him. Virgil's gonna kill him. If he went the distance with this guy, oh my God, Virgil's gonna kill him. It's gonna be that narrative. Y'all know I ain't lying. I never do. The monk, the wisest warrior, know when to walk and when to fight. 100% facts. So Boots has that chip on his shoulder where it's like, okay, you decided to go for the tune-ups, cool. But let's see what you're gonna do then. You know, we're expecting you to look impressive, to be explosive, to give us a highlight type of knockout. Let's see if Uisma Lima is gonna, you know, put something in those plans to make him take a turn. The hydro grind. The monk speaking like a monk. Only facts. Superman. The other fighters are different. It still wouldn't matter. But that would be the narrative. Of course, look, it really wouldn't matter when you really consider what's supposed to happen for Jaron Boots Ennis is that he has to get the win. That's what has to happen. Regardless of a knockout or it goes the distance. He needs to win. But we all know how fans react when a fighter is expected to do something and he doesn't do it. It's like, oh, nah, he went the distance. That's it. He's done. Yo, there's going to be people who say that he's a hype job if he goes the distance. Young Guns, do you think Boots will fight Abbas, the WBA champ, or go WBC route with Keith Fundora winner? Honestly, I think that him and Virgil is going to be the first option. And then at that time, we have to see who holds a belt. Let's see. Because you got to understand, Fundora and Keith Thurman, they PBC fighters. So you have to wonder, is the politics of it all going to play a role here? You know, is he gonna have a hard time getting that fight with the winner because of that, and have to go in a different direction? The Hydro Grind, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes the Zayas route, the weakest link in the division. Boots acting like he don't want no big smoke. I mean, I don't know why you're saying that. I don't know why you're saying that he's acting like he don't want no big smoke. He's getting the little tune-up, but let's see what he do after the tune-up, bro. Give him the benefit of the doubt at least. Give him the benefit of the doubt. And I will say this. That's not a fair assessment, saying that he's acting like he don't want the smoke because he's making his debut in the division. Give the guy a chance, and let's see what he's going to do. 28 years old, my guy. Jaron Boots Ennis is 28 years old. Well, I don't know if he already turned 29, but he a young gun. J. Cole, good morning. Salute, my brother. Bam. Damn, man, what's up with this son, my people playing games with me? Hold on, I gotta adjust. Can't even see. Superman, I don't think 12 matter. I think 12 only matter depending on what fashion it is. I agree with that. But at the end, I think it all goes down to wins and losses. So you win, it's not always going to look good. Of course, Jaron Boots Ennis is a fighter who has a lot in his arsenal. So we expect him to look good in a win. But styles make fights. Sometimes you're not gonna look good. I will. I will say though, if he scores a spectacular knockout, you know people gonna start talking about right away. Oh, him and Virgil. Boots is gonna knock Virgil out just like this. And then it goes 12. Oh man, he won 12. That's it. He's cooked. Virgil's gonna beat him up. So it's all gonna depend on how it plays out, and then a narrative grows from that. Jai Tucker, November 22 in Long Island. Woo! Listen, bro. Jahai Tucker, he's a fighter who it almost feels like he's flying under the radar. That's how I feel about Jahai Tucker. Like he's flying under the radar and a lot of people sleeping on him. And I'm gonna tell you guys right now, Jahai Tucker is gonna be a problem for a long time. Jahai Tucker can fight. He can fight. So if you haven't been following him, if you haven't been watching his fights, if you don't know what's going on, check him out, my people. Jahai Tucker let them hands fly. He's a problem. And one of the things that I like about Jahai Tucker, he has a lot of things that he can do, but his counter punching, he's sharp with it. Bang! Hold that. Check him out. That's all I'm saying. Jacob, wear spar boots. It was great sparring. I'm telling you, because he can fight. He's an elite level guy. So he's gonna get his opportunities, and you're gonna see him coming up, and he a problem. He a problem, my people. Now, in my opinion, right? If Jaron Boots Ennis wins this fight, which we expect him to, Virgil Ortiz should be next. That's it. That should be the next fight. Let me see right now. October, November, December, January, February. Because Virgil's going to fight too, by the way. So after Virgil, it's going to be 3-4 months before they can fight. But that's my opinion. I don't want the 2 tune-ups. I don't like the idea of 2 tune-ups before him and Virgil. Fight that 1 tune-up. Especially, look, this is what I'm going to say. We already know that they've been talking about the 2 tune-ups. If Jaron Boots Ennis goes 12 rounds with Uisma Lima and it's a dog fight, then I'm going to say, okay, then I agree with the 2 tune-ups. He went life and death with this guy. I'm going to say he went life and death with this guy. So I agree with... Whoa. Almost had an accident. If he goes life and death with Uisma Lima, I'm going to say, do the 2 tune-ups, okay? We're going to need that. We're going to need that. But if he completely outclass him, destroy him, like it appears he's going to do on paper, put him on a highlight reel like Superman said, then that's it. We don't need 2 tune-ups. Virgil needs to be next. Superman, it's a highlight on purpose. We know how Eddie does it. Listen, if we know how Eddie does it, I guess you mean Eddie's a great promoter. Yeah, a great promoter does a great job promoting his fighters, man. That's why Matchroom is right now where it's at. They one of the hottest promotional companies and have been for a minute. And now he signed Ben Whitaker. Eddie Hearn is on fire, bro. Superman, that head is in the air. Bing, bing. Oh, man, don't tell me that. It's a knockout on the way. Benicio Santos Oliveira. Salute, my brother. Bam. Superman. Hand down and all that. Oh, man. And look, I'm gonna tell you this my saying right here. Hands down, man down. That's it. That's what happens with Jaron Boots Ennis. Greg Mars, salute. Bam. You can't do that. You can't do that. With somebody who's so quick, who's gonna put combinations together in a split second, who's gonna give you angles, punch you in the face from the side, you can't do that. Hands down, man down. Superman, man all the way down. Whoa, wait a minute, because all the way down, that means you're getting put all the way down. Sleep. Benicio Santos Oliveira, is Bivol going to fight David? Well, that fight is definitely not going to happen next. So I want to point something out, my peoples, about Dimitri Bivol. You guys know that David Benavidez was his mandatory, but Bivol chose to drop the belt, right? And I'll say, yo, he ducked. He'll duck. Well, it turns out that he had surgery. He had to get surgery after the fight with Beterbiev. So he chose, okay, he had a nagging little injury that was bothering him. He decided to get the surgery. He's going to need a little bit of time off before coming back. So are we going to see Benavidez versus Bivol? Maybe. I thought we was not going to see that fight because I was like, nah, he ducked. If he ducked, having David Benavidez as his mandatory, why would he fight him then when he won't have to, when he's not forced to? So I was like, nah, that fight is not going to happen. But now that I realized that Dimitri Bivol had to get surgery and took a little break, I think it's a possibility that we could get that fight in the future. Especially if Benavidez fights Arthur Beterbiev and beats him, that'll set the stage for Benavidez versus Dimitri Bivol. Superman. Devastating blow, ladies and gentlemen. That was a devastating blow. That's how you're going to see me calling it. And my man Arthur on the card in November. I'm telling you, David Benavidez will put all type of hands on Arthur Beterbiev. And I say that because Beterbiev, he's just a step slower. You know, I'm 40 years old. Just a step. You saw that in the last fight versus Bivol. And you're talking about a Mexican monster who's in his prime, who's peaking. Nah. Beterbiev takes the beating of a lifetime. But he don't get knocked out. Superman, you think Arthur gonna beat his opponent too? I think so, yeah. Yeah. You know. We can't disrespect him because he lost a split decision to Dimitri Bivol. He's going to win. He's winning his next fight. And then let's see what happens after. Are we going to get David Benavidez versus Arthur Beterbiev? I would love to see it. But will politics get in the way of that fight? Because Bivol versus Benavidez, His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh specifically pointed out that he wasn't interested in that fight. Specifically. So we know that Arthur Beterbiev does business with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. So I don't know. I don't know if that fight is going to happen because of that. Superman, yes, he is the Russian monster. That's why I tell people who say that Benavidez is going to knock him out. Come on. We've never seen this guy even hurt in his whole career. Arthur Beterbiev, not only was he undefeated because he just took his first L, but we've never seen this guy take a shot. Look, oh my God, nah, never been down. Well, I don't know that for a fact, to be honest, but I think that he's never been down. Superman, looks like King in Tekken. Greg versus Bivol sounds like a good one, but Bivol all day. Nah, I got David Benavidez baiting him up, to be honest. David Benavidez bait him up if him and Bivol fight each other. I'm just keeping it 100 with you, my brother. Trust me, rock with me on that. Baiting him up. Because you have to understand, look, David Benavidez has a similar style to Arthur Beterbiev. Similar style, right? And Arthur Beterbiev beat him in the first fight, gave him his first L. The only difference is that Benavides is younger than Beterbiev. He's faster than Beterbiev. He got better footwork than Beterbiev. Give you more angles. Beterbiev is a straightforward guy. Boom, 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 boom. Nah, Benavides got that movement, got that jab, got angles. It's a different ball game. David Benavides, if he fight Dimitri Bivol, he gonna beat him up. I'm telling you, my peoples. Look. If you been subscribed to the channel long enough, you saw what I told you Terence Crawford was gonna do to Canelo Alvarez, and you went against me. Don't go against me on this one. Trust me. Trust me. I don't want to do a cooking show on that Sunday morning to have to, let you know. I try to tell you. Don't make me do a cooking show for that. Superman, but we will see once it's done. We will see. We shall. We shall. Superman. I never believed in Bennett and won't even start now. Facts plus tax. Look, there's a reason why Canelo Alvarez chose not to fight the Mexican Monster all these years. There's a reason for that. And look what happened to Boo Boo when he moved up to fight Benavides. Look at David Morrell. And by the way, David Morrell was putting up a real good fight. You could see that David Morrell was there to win. That's why I respect him. Mad respect for David Morrell, man. Salute. You see, while people just look at, oh, he won or he lost, I look at the way that you performed, the way that you fought. Watch this. Look at the difference between the way Berlanga lost to Canelo, where you see that he was just surviving to go the distance, or versus how William Score lost to Canelo, using the footwork, surviving going the distance. In comparison to how David Morrell lost to David Benavides. He lost banging it out with him, putting hands on him. You gotta respect that. Christopher, salute, bam. Superman, Morrell needs to go back to the lab. He got addicted to that power. I mean, he's back in the lab. He already back in the lab. And I'm gonna tell you something. David Morrell is gonna become a world champion. You're gonna see him. I don't know in what division. I don't know what sanctioning body. I don't know how it's gonna play out. But I'm telling you right now, David Morrell is gonna be a champion. Don't sleep on him. This guy can fight. He lost to the Mexican Monster. But do not sleep. People, they see when a fighter lose, and they think that you done, you cooked, you're a high job. How many fighters we've seen take a L and then become a champion? Look at Mario Barrios. Lost to Tank Davis, then became a world champion after taking the L. Look at Rollies, who lost to Tank. He became a world champion. So David Morrell is one of those fighters who has the skills, the discipline to get better from that L and become a world champion. Remember that I told you that. When he becomes a champion, I'll be like, I try to tell you. MS, Morrell fans were talking about he got robbed because they saw Morrell win. Similar to Canelo fan base. I mean, how could you even say that? The Hydrograph, he has a big challenge versus Caleb Smith in the UK. That's a tough fight. That's a tough fight. Give me a second, my peoples. The Hydro Grind. But I love Morrell, man. He's amazing. Hope he becomes a champion one day. Oh, now you don't have to hope that he becomes a champion one day. I already told you that he's going to become a champion one day. So instead of hoping, now you know. Be like, AJ told me. It's going down. I'm telling you, he is that good, that talented, that disciplined, that I see him becoming a world champion. Jay Stradamus, you got it. Young Guns, what fighter styles are the most pleasing to watch for you? Ooh. That's hard to say because I like different fighters that have different styles. I like a boxer puncher. When I say boxer puncher, look at Abdullah Mason. He can box you. He can slug with you. Look at Jaron Ennis. I like a pure boxer. Look at Shakur Stevenson, who can, Floyd Mayweather the shit out of you out there. I enjoy that. Then I enjoy a slugger. So, to be honest, there isn't one specific style that I find the most pleasing. I think styles make fights. And every single style, if you match it up with the right one, you could get a great fight. And sometimes if you match the styles that don't go well together, you could get a horrible fight. So I don't think it's about the style itself. For myself, it's more about the matchup. The right matchup is always going to give us a good one. MS, the Hydro Grind, no doubt. Morrell is a hell of a fighter. It will come. I'm telling you, my peoples, David Morrell, oh, and by the way, since we're talking about David Morrell from Cuba, let me point out for you guys that we have a Cuban coach in the Dominican boxing team. We have a Cuban coach, and you guys will get to meet him on Friday. So I'm going to say for you guys that are here right now, on Friday morning, for that episode of Boxing for Breakfast, I will be at the Dominican Boxing Federation facility with the Dominican national boxing team. It's gonna be fire, my peoples. Y'all boy Jay Smith has been granted access. Y'all gonna see training. Y'all gonna see sparrings. Y'all gonna see live. Like you ain't never seen it before. Like I told you, Box Center is about bringing something different to the fans, bringing more. The knowledge, the trash talking, just bringing you guys a full package and a healthy dosage of sweet science consistently. So I hope you guys tune in on Friday morning because it's going to be lit, I promise you. Super lit. So, ladies and gentlemen, I ask, Xander Sayers, he was trying to get a fight with Sebastian Fundora. If you guys remember, he even tried to do a face-off after Fundora beat Tim Tszyu. Is Xander Sayers ready for Sebastian Fundora, the Tower Inferno? Can he handle that? Young Guns, David Morrell had a lot of hype around him, but last couple fights, not the best. Iglesias at 168 look like he is the next best thing for Cuba. Yo, Iglesias can fight. But Cuba produces top level, elite level boxers consistently. No surprise there. But he can fight. Let's see. Young Guns, I noticed over time, Cubans have developed more power. I think that they've simply started to emphasize more on power. I wouldn't say that they developed it. I think they started to emphasize because, that Cuban style of boxing that, relies on a lot of footwork, a lot of angles, quickness. So traditionally, They not out there trying to knock you out. They out there trying to outbox you. They out there trying to play chess, trying to outsmart you. If we look at, El Chacal, if we look at, we go back to Joel Casamayor, we look at all these Cuban fighters, they was out there, just being surgical with it. And now they're putting more emphasis on power and power shots. The Hydro Brian, Iglesias looking like a bat, like a beast. He a beast. Of course, we have to see him, stepping up in competition and fighting those better fighters, those more experienced opponents. And let's see. But right now, he's looking like he's headed for a world title. Like, he's title bound. The guy can fight. Young guns, sometimes they use that amateur style in the pros. And I tell you what, some of these Cuban fighters who turn pro and have that style, they experience a lot of success. And even when they transition into the pros and adapt to that pro style, you still see shades of that amateur style. The Hydro Grind, yeah, sometimes they be looking for clean shots, like in the punch point system. And you see them getting that one shot in this. Bam! Yo, Cubans, they have that style, man. That's why, at the world stage, Cuban boxers have always, stood out. When it comes to the Olympics, World Championships, and all that stuff, Cuban fighters, you always have to go through them. They're either going to win the whole thing or you're going to have to go through them in some other divisions to get there. The Hydro Grind. Yeah, sometimes they be looking for them clean shots. Now, let me say something. Somebody was asking me yesterday, if Jaron Ennis wins, should Terence Crawford fight him next? My peoples, the Terence Crawford ship has sailed. Everybody needs to just let that go. Let that go, my peoples. Why do I keep getting asked? Should Terence Crawford go to 154 and fight Boots? Or even people telling me that he's ducking Boots. Bro, he offered Jaron Ennis the fight. Jaron Ennis, his pops turned it down. It's on video he's saying, we turned it down. We wanted to be loyal to Espinosa and Showtime. We turned it down. They could have made that fight. The ship has sailed. Terence Crawford fought at 168. Boots is asking for a tune-up at 154. For 2 tune-ups. So forget about Crawford versus Boots, my people. The ship has sailed. And then Boots is about to make his debut at 154, where he asked for 2 tune-ups, and Crawford already said that he'll never fight in that division again. That ship has sailed. Let it go. Young Guns, I'm seeing negotiations have started for Andy Cruz versus Raymond Murataya. I got Cruz. Listen, bro. Andy Cruz gonna beat him up. Murataya can fight. Talented, skilled, all of that. Andy Cruz is something different. Andy Cruz is the type of fighter that he's only going to lose to the if he loses, he's only going to lose, te quiero mucho, mi amor. He's only going to lose to the very, very best. If he loses, it has to be like a Shakur, a Tio, a Keyshawn Davis. It got to be something like that. Murataya is not going to beat Andy Cruz, my peoples. It's just not going to happen. This is just not going to happen for Murataya. He's going to get got. He could put up a good fight. He can put up a good fight. He can make it interesting. Yes. But I don't see it happening for him, my people. So I got to be honest with you. Andy Cruz is a very, Very special fighter. That's another guy. If you don't think Andy Cruz is going to be a world champion, I don't know what to tell you, my people. Check out my breakfast. By the way, everybody who just tuned in, welcome to a brand new episode of Boxing for Breakfast, where you get your healthy dosage of sweet science early in the morning. We talking boxing, my peoples. Is Jaron Ennis going to win by knockout? Can he pull it off? Young Guns, if you talk to a lot of Americans, they're going to say that Boost because 160 doesn't have known guys. You mean 154? Because he's at 154 right now, so his opponent is at 154. Young Guns, that's what I think anyway. I think you mean at 160 though, because Boost is at 160. Right? Young Guns, Bozy has Andy Cruz, Boost, Fulton, and now Catterall. They got a stable over there, man. And that's one thing too. When you training with guys like that, I've seen pictures that you could tell Andy Cruz be sparring with Boots, who's a lot bigger than him. And he be sparring with him. When you're getting that type of work in the gym, bro, you know what they say, iron sharpens iron. It's kind of like Shakur Stevenson. He gets to train with Terrence Crawford. Imagine that. You sparring, you working with the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. What you think that's going to do for your game? Superman. Answer is heck yeah. So, Andy Cruz, he one of them type of guys. Andy, look, I can't wait for us to get Andy Cruz versus Keyshawn Davis. I can't wait for that fight. Because I tell you, Andy Cruz, you know, and Keyshawn Davis, obviously, they have their experience in the amateurs. Hold on one second. Andy Cruz. I love you too, Ryan. Answer is heck yeah. Sandai is going to get the flip-flop highlight. Look, if Jaron Boost, I already told you guys, if Jaron Boost Ennis is able to score the knockout, and it's a highlight reel, we don't need another tune-up, my peoples. We don't need another tune-up. Fight Virgil. Next. And I say we don't need another tune-up. But what I mean is, both don't need another tune-up. If you destroy your opponent, that's it. It's time for Virgil. Why get another one? Superman, so that's going to be a goodie. Why get another tune-up? Now, as far as Terrence Crawford, like I told you guys, he's not going to move down to the 154 division. There's no need to mention, you know, Boots and Crawford name in the same sentence. There's no need to say he should go down to fight this guy or this fight has to happen. That's it. That ship has 100% sailed. And trust me, I take no pleasure in telling you this because I wanted to see that fight as much as you guys wanted to see it. But if it's not going to happen, I'm not going to give you false hope. I'm not going to be blowing smoke up your ass. That fight is not happening. Let it go. It's good to have somebody that's gonna be honest and just tell you what it is, as opposed to it might happen. You know, he gotta fight him. He should fight him. Cap. He should fight whoever the hell he wanna fight. And let me segue. What the yo? This egg barely cooked. Let me segue into Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr., my peoples. God damn, look, this egg barely cooked. This thing is almost still alive. Was ready to lay. My people's Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney is getting closer and closer to happening. And I got people telling me that Devin is going to make it look easy. But I also got people telling me that Brian Norman Jr. is going to knock him out in devastating fashion. ¿A quién le creo? Who do I believe? Check this egg out. Side, Brian Norman Jr. is going to be tough. It could be devastating. Man, look. At first, I said that Brian Norman Jr. was going to knock Devin Haney out. That's what I said at first. But then I saw Devin training, man, and how he looks. Devin looks strong. He looks big. Looks fast. Then I had to walk it back. Right now, I'm 50-50. I don't know. I haven't been able to make a prediction for this fight. Real talk. Look, we know about Devin Haney's boxing skills. We know about the footwork, the movement, the angles, the hand speed. And we saw his last fight. Some people criticize him for the way he fought Jose Ramirez. I actually felt like that was a great way to fight him. And it was a great game plan that they have for Jose Ramirez. And I'm going to tell you why. You got to think about the fact that Devin Haney's last fight before that was versus Ryan Garcia, right? And obviously he took some punishment in that fight. You know, he got dropped multiple times. He got beat up. Beat up. So, took a lot of nasty shots to the head. You guys remember? By the 12th round, Devin was looking like Donatello. Straight up looking like a Ninja Turtle, yo. Face like this. So, if you have that type of fight, it's not a good idea for you to, your very next fight, get into another slugfest and take that type of punishment to your dome piece again. Superman, Jay, that's how my eggs, that day you timed me out. That's why I was asking questions. Damn, man, you underboiled them shits. Took them out too quick, bro. My damn egg looked like it was almost alive right now. So, but I'm gonna tell you something, guys. I have not been able to make a prediction on Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr., but I will make it. You will get a Jay Stradamus prediction, but this is the type of fight that I might wait for the weigh-in. And then after I see them in the weigh-in, I'll tell you what I think. I think that might end up happening. I'm not ready to predict. It's job 456. Haney getting knocked out. Clean? I don't know about all that, man. What if he fight and he's able to duplicate what he did versus Jose Ramirez as far as the footwork? What if he does that? And I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm asking a question. But I will tell you, I don't think Devin is gonna be able to fight Brian Norman Jr. the same way he fought Jose Ramirez. Why? Jose Ramirez is a flat-footed fighter who comes forward, applies pressure. That type of fighter. But what? This guy's you're talking about an MMA guy? You got it, champ. But you have to understand, Brian Norman Jr. is gonna apply pressure, but he also has footwork, crazy footwork and athleticism that you don't see from Jose Ramirez. Hoodridge, Tuporia, yeah, yeah. So this is a boxing channel, family. So take a 24-hour break, and then tomorrow when you come back, talk boxing and talk about boxers. We don't got time for that. Superman, yo quiero. Turkey ain't giving him that W with that style all night. Ryan is up now. Oh man, he trying to rock with me. He like, yo, nah, I need my attention right now. Is Ja 456? Is Boots knocking out Lima? I don't know, bro. I don't know because he's on paper. He's supposed to. He's supposed to knock him out. And why I say that? Number one, Uisma Lima's never been on a big stage. He's, never been a champion. Never fought anybody that's been a champion. So you're talking about a guy who doesn't have that type of experience facing a Jaron Ennis, who's a phenom, who's considered one of the best fighters right now, who's already been a world champion, who's a unified champion. Boots is supposed to knock this guy out. But styles make fights. We don't know how they're going to match up. We don't know if Uisma Lima is going to fight to survive, if he's going to run. Boots is supposed to knock him out. But let's see. I'm going to just say this. Before Bakram Mortasaliev fought Tim Tszyu, Timmy was supposed to knock him out because we didn't know Mortasaliev. And look what he did. Absolutely pummeled, battered, and destroyed Tim Tszyu. Made quick and easy work of him. And he was supposed to get knocked out, according to the experts and the people tuning in. Superman, KO or he won't come back out due to the body shots. Is Ja, will you bet your money on it? I don't need to bet money on it. I don't bet, my brother. I stopped betting when Crawford put the Swiss Dre and Apple beats on Errol Spence. And yo, I bet money with 5 different people. 2 paid me. So if you want to bet, we could place an online bet. And then, when you lose, you could just feel like that money went to me. The money that I won, I'm going to feel like I took it from you. But I don't bet people directly no more. Superman, back hit so hard it was ugly. Listen, we don't see anybody out there talking about, I want to fight Bakram Mortasaliev. I want, like this guy, he's a world champion. You don't see nobody calling for that strap. You don't see nobody trying to get that belt. Who trying to get that belt? Come on now. Come on now. Adrian Panat Ultimate Boxing Championship would have been better named than the name Zuffa Boxing. I don't know how they came up with that name, to be honest. Zuffa Boxing. I don't know, because obviously that's not a common name. That sounds like maybe it could be a Middle Eastern name because of the Z in the beginning. I'm not sure. I've never heard that name before, but that's what they went with, I guess. That's what they chose to go with. Superman. Oh, whoa, that's crazy. They ain't there. Cringy. Only on their dreams. Zuffa boxing. My peoples. Let me ask you a question. If we're looking at this Zuffa boxing, this is a whole new. It's not just a promotional outfit. They're their own boxing league. You know, the TKO boxing league that they have, and they already said that they're not gonna recognize any of the sanctioning bodies. How long is it gonna take for this thing to catch on? Because for now, fighters are gonna go there for the money, right? But you're not gonna make the most money over there. They already showed the pay scheme, how you get paid based on you fight, you win, and bonuses and stuff like that. You're not gonna be making millions of dollars. So at least for now, that format is gonna be good for two specific types of fighters. Number one, fighters who are well, more than two specific type of fighters. I would say two groups. The first group is guys like journeymen who don't get a lot of fights in boxing, who are waiting for somebody to make the call and get them a fight. They'll be good for Zuffa boxing. And also guys who are up and comers, who haven't made a name for themselves, who are trying to, get some shine, who are trying to fight in front of a camera, who are trying to get an opportunity. Those are fighters that you'll see going to Zuffa boxing. But watch this. Remember that I told you this. Jay Stradamus don't miss when it come to these. I'm gonna tell you how it plays out. A lot of young fighters, because they want an opportunity, they're gonna go to Zuffa boxing, right? The thing is that Zuffa boxing or TKO boxing, they're gonna be kind of like a UFC format. You guys know UFC fighters, they can't fight anywhere else. They can only fight in the UFC and that's it. They can only wear UFC branded clothes. They can only. That Zuffa TKO boxing is gonna be the same thing. So what's gonna end up happening is that young fighters, 18, 19, 20, they're gonna sign, I don't know, however many year contract. And when that contract is done, they're gonna leave. You know why? Because they're gonna wanna fight for a WBC belt, for a WBO. They're gonna want that IBF strap. They're gonna want, and they can't do it on the Zuffa boxing. You have to understand, my peoples. Every fighter who's an elite level fighter, whoever wanted to be the best, whoever wanted to get to the top, they all worn that green belt. Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Sugar Ray Leonard, Duran, Hagler, Hearns, they all wore that green belt. Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya, Tito Trinidad wore the green belt. Lennox Lewis. Come on now. All these great fighters have worn it. And great fighters, up and coming fighters who are projected to reach for greatness, they want it. And if you're fighting on the TKO and Zuffa boxing, you can't even fight for it. So what I predict is that you hold on. Yeah, go ahead, change it. So what you will see is that young fighters will go there for an opportunity to get on stage, to get in front of the cameras. But once that contract is up, 2, 3 years, whatever it is, they're gonna get out of there. They're gonna be like, yo, I appreciate you. I'm out of here now. I need to go get me the real belts. Young Guns, will you recognize the TKO Zuffa belt That's a tough question to answer because at the end of the day, there's gonna be that belt. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. That belt is not gonna have any weight for a long time. It's not gonna have any weight. It's gonna be more about, they making money. They making competitive fight. They making good matchups, but it's not gonna have any weight whatsoever. When you're talking about, because you have to understand this. There's gonna be, let's say Zuffa has a welterweight champion, right? But there's gonna be a welterweight champion for the WBC, for the WBO, for the IBF, for the WBA. Who's gonna put the Zuffa welterweight champion above those guys? You know who? Ring Magazine, because in Zuffa they can fight for Ring Magazine, which, by the way, Ring Magazine is about to go to shit. And you know why I tell you that? Because Zuffa, guys who fighting under the Zuffa promotional outfit, they're only gonna fight for Zuffa and Ring Magazine. That means that a Zuffa champion can win the ring belt. The ring belt can be the ring belt magazine champion without ever having to fight any of the champions in the sanctioning bodies. When that happens, the Ring Magazine is gonna go to shit. They need me. The Ring Magazine need me as an assessor to give them an assessment and tell them, you gotta understand what gonna be the repercussions of this. Ring Magazine has been respected for so many decades, and y'all gonna start awarding these belts to people who don't even fight in the sanctioning bodies. There's a Mickey Mouse belt. What y'all doing? What are we doing over here? So I'm telling you guys right now, it's gonna take some time for that Zuffa belt to catch on. Because at first, we know that people's only there for the money. That's it. That's the only reason I'm gonna fight in this promotional outfit, because y'all paying me and y'all gonna give me some shine. But I don't want that crap. I don't want that Mickey Mouse belt. I'm gonna act like I want it. I'm gonna act like, yeah, the Zuffa belt. That shit is crap right now. A belt with no history behind it, with no champions that have ever won it, means nothing. It's a trinket. You know when that Zuffa belt becomes important? When you start to see big name fighters in their prime cross over to TKO boxing. That's when it's gonna take some time for that to happen, I promise you. Or if Zuffa take a young fighter, right? Let's say bring him from the amateurs and develop him, turn him into a superstar, then that can bring attention to them. That you took this young gun and brought, develop them, and it would be, and they could have that, they could have like a 5, 6, 7 year plan, a 10-year plan to get Zuffa to the top. But it's a long road, my peoples, because right now, who gives a F about that belt? Young guns, they better not have to pay sanctioning fees. We're gonna find out how it all works. I mean, do UFC fighters pay sanctioning fees? Because it's pretty much the same UFC format. It's pretty much the same thing. Orange Man Fan Club. Those alphabet belts are a joke. Ring belt was more prestigious. Dari Panat, you're speaking the truth. I'm telling you, once Ring Magazine has been one of the most respected, boxing entities for decades. You associate all the best fighters in the world with that Ring Magazine belt. So for them to go and start awarding that belt and those rankings to people who are fighting exclusively under TKO boxing, that's crazy. They're going to lose all credibility. If you're a fan of them, you still could be a fan. You're going to be a fan. But as far as, are they really giving the Ring Belt magazine to the best? Hell no. If you have a group of people who are fighting in TKO boxing and they can't fight any other champions in the real sanctioning bodies, how the hell you gonna tell me that this is the Ring Belt Magazine champion? He ain't fight. He only fought in house. So it is what it is, man. Young Guns. I looked it up. It says no UFC fighter don't pay sanctioning fees for belts. Okay, so then that means that I'm assuming, that's my assumption, that for Zuffa is gonna be the same thing. They probably won't be paying sanctioning fees, but they shouldn't. They don't get paid that much. You pay sanctioning fees, you're gonna be broke. Jason Williams, will real boxing champions call out Zuffa champions? I don't see it happening, bro. I do not see it happening. Why? Because we already know Dana White said they're not going to recognize the WBC, the WBO, WBA, IBF. They're not recognizing them. That means that they're going to do the same UFC format. If you sign, once you sign with TKO Boxing and Zuffa, you're not going to be able to fight anybody under those sanctioning bodies. That's it. You're only going to fight. Look, this is why it's going to take till 2026. I've been told that they're going to kick off in 2026 because they have to put together the entire roster for everything. For everything. They're their own league. They're going to have, all of their fighters are going to be exclusive to them, just like the UFC. So how if you only fighting Zuffa guys, you're going to be a ring belt magazine champion? A ring magazine champion. That don't make no sense. West does it. I think it'll be good for the popularity of the sport, but bad for the champions and top guys. Boxing fans, sheesh. JJ's in their house. They're here just to mess up boxing. TKO will be like the WWE. Let's see, Dana already said he don't want to catch us off guard with that. He already told us that, they're gonna get guys, they're gonna sign guys who have a lot of losses, guys who can fight though, guys who's gonna be competitive, guys who wanna fight. They're gonna do it like that. So, and I said it before, they're gonna sign young fighters, guys who are, 18, 19, 20, top level guys who just turned pro, but they're looking for an opportunity, right? Those guys will stick around, and when their contract is up, they're gonna leave. Unless they do a different pay format. Because remember, they put out a spreadsheet where they say this how much fighters are gonna make. And even the champions won't make $1 million. Or I think the champions are the ones, I don't remember, but the numbers compared to what the stars make were really low. So I believe they're going to have, sign these young fighters. And those young lions, when their contract is up, they're going to say, I'm out of here. Peace. Thank you for your services. And I'm out. I want to go fight for the real titles, the real belts. Peace. And I want you guys to think about it. What happens when you become a Zuffa champion? And you sitting over there looking at all these guys, and you wish you could fight them, but you can't because you with TKO and Zuffa. They're going to leave. They're going to end up leaving. So it's going to take years and years. They got to have like a 5 or 10-year plan to make this Zuffa thing really jump off like that. And let me tell you something, my peoples. Putting a lot of money behind something doesn't mean it's automatically gonna be successful. Understand that. People think, oh my God, it's Dana in Turkey and this thing is gonna be crazy. Think about this. Look at all those football leagues that they put out trying to compete with the NFL. And what has happened to all of them? They try to put football to compete with the NFL, football to have it in the off season so they don't have to compete with the NFL. All types of football they try to put out there. And it's been millions and millions and millions of dollars behind behind those football leagues. They still went down. They still went down. The money wasn't enough for you to take fans away from this sport that it is where it all began. The tradition is over there. So when you make a whole new football league, nobody care about that damn thing. You know what the Super Bowl is about? You know how big the Super Bowl is, and you're gonna come with your little new league talking about you play. Nah, nobody wanna hear that. So TKO and Zulfa is an uphill battle for them. Success is not guaranteed just because it's a lot of money, because the fans could reject that. The fans could be like, yo, what? Hold on. You can't fight these guys and they talking about you the best? What's going on over here? So the UFC format works for Dana White because in this combat sport, they don't have sanctioning bodies the way that they have in boxing. In this sport, what they have is different leagues. They have the UFC, they have Pride, and they have whatever else they have out there. So Dana figured, I'm gonna bring this same format to boxing. We're not gonna just do a promotional outfit and compete with these guys. We're gonna do our own league so that we don't have to compete with them. We're gonna have our own shit. Okay, great. You're gonna do your own thing. But how much time is it gonna take for that league to start attracting the big names? For the world champions, the guys that are the guys, the Teofimos, the Shakors, the Devins, the Tank Davises, how long is it gonna take for them to attract fighters like that? Because that's what it's gonna take for their belt to become relevant. You need a big star to go win that belt. And that's what makes it legit. Because now people will challenge that guy. Okay, he's a star and he's over there. I'm going to go fight him over there. And we already know that to fight somebody over there, you're going to have to sign with Zuffa Boxing too. You're not just going to be able to fight him. Because what happens with UFC fighters? UFC fighters can't fight nobody anywhere else, can't fight in no sport anywhere else. They need Dana White's blessings. And nobody can come fight you if they don't sign with the UFC. It's going to be the same thing with Zuffa Boxing. And I haven't seen the details, but based on what I've seen thus far, that's how I put it together. Same deal. JJ's in the house. Jay Smith, please don't mention Tank. You don't want me to mention Tank Duck Davis? I won't. I won't do it. My peoples, welcome to another episode of Boxing for Breakfast, man. You're getting a healthy dosage of sweet science early in the morning. An hour and a half and not even 20 likes. That's diabolical. You could have double tapped that screen. Pop, pop, but you chose to duck that like button the same way Tank Davis ducked Lamont Roach. Why you had to do it like that? I need answers. But in the meantime, I want to remind you guys that on Friday morning, that episode of Boxing for Breakfast is going to kick off in the Dominican Republic Boxing Federation facility. I'm going to be with the Dominican boxing team, the national boxing team, the elites of this country. I'm going to be live. You guys will get to see them training. You guys get to see them sparring. You guys will get to see them hanging out in the facility where they live, where they get to stay at. So Friday morning's episode of Boxing for Breakfast, my peoples, is going to be lit. You do not want to miss it, I promise you. And what I'm looking forward to the most is showing you guys, how these young fighters train. We actually have 2 Olympic medalists. In the last Olympics, Dominican Republic had 2 medalists. And I think that they're both going to be there on Friday. It's your boy, JB. Where you located, fam? Damn, bro, you open up the show where I'm located? No boxing talk, no nothing? Golly. Like that, bro? You're not even going to put no sugar on it? Not even... JJ's in the house. That's awesome, Jay Smith. We need that everywhere around the world to keep boxing going. And look, that's an initiative, my brother, that I'm taking upon myself, because if people saw what happens, in these elite level, sparring sessions, what happen, how they train in national boxing teams and all that, you know, they would have more respect for it. And also, you get to have a look. You get to see a little bit of what these guys are doing before turning professionals. You get to have that experience. It's your boy JB. I box. That's what I'm asking. My fault. No, no biggie, my brother. If you box, that's all good then. I'm from Dominican Republic. I'm actually in the Dominican Republic, but I grew up in New York City. So the accent, that's what you see. It sound from New York, but I live in DR. So it's your boy JB. Since you boxed, on Friday morning, please tune in to that episode of Boxing for Breakfast. You're going to see, I'm going to be with the national boxing team. Two of these guys won Olympic medals. And I promise you, that day, you'll see multiple guys, multiple boxers who are future world champions, who will become world champions after they turn pro. I can't, if there's 10 elite level guys, and 3 are going to be world champions one day. It's hard to say which 3 because they're that good. But I promise you, elite level fighters, boxers. JJ's in the house, exactly. From the beginning and an inside look. That's what I'm saying. You get to see what most people don't show, what most gyms don't show. Because if you think about it, you'll find a lot of training clips here and there. People training, people sparring. There's a bunch of them. But that's not what I'm doing, my peoples. What I'm doing, I'm going to be live. I'm going to be live with the national boxing team. You guys will be able to chime in. You guys will be able to ask somebody a question, and I'll ask it. Yo, such and such want to know this. You guys will be able to interact. And it's not just good. Instead of just me sending or uploading a clip of them training, little highlight clip. Nah, that's not what I'm doing. I'm going to be live with the national boxing team. You guys are going to see them training. You guys are going to see them stretching, sitting down. All access, my peoples. This is what in most cases, boxing fans never get to see. You're going to get to see it here on Friday. And you'll see why these kids are so good. And by the way, the Dominican boxing team has a Cuban coach. Y'all know about them Cuban coaches. I think he's the lead coach. I was talking to him yesterday. It's your boy JB. You got Instagram? Yes, sir. Give me a second, Ryan. Let me grab my phone. I'm gonna show you my Instagram. My peoples, welcome to another episode of Boxing for Breakfast, man, where you get your healthy dosage of sweet science early in the morning. I'm about to show you guys my Instagram. Here you go. I post a lot of stories on there. The Instagram is jsmith134. So J_Smith134. There you have it right there, my peoples. It's your boy JB. Say less. I fight at 156, 165 right now in the amateurs. And I'm going to tune in for show. I've been booking for like a year and a half. Whoa. You got Instagram? Yes, sir. Oh, that's fire, bro. We definitely got to talk then. Hit me up on DM and we'll link up. I'll bring you on. We could talk boxing a little bit. And I got to say, As an amateur boxer, you have you have a real good understanding of the grind that it takes. Because that's the one thing in the amateurs, you're not gonna get 3 months to prepare for a fight like in the pros. If you fight in a tournament, you fight today, then you fight again tomorrow, or in 2 days you're fighting again. So it's a different grind. If you have to fight, 2, 3 times in a tournament, it's a whole different grind, a whole different ball game. Or there could be a big tournament. You're fighting in that tournament 3, 4 fights to get to the finals. Guess what? A couple of months from now, there's another tournament. And if you made it to the final, you fought 2, 3 more times. It's a different type of grind in the amateurs. Young Guns, Jay Smith. You got to check out Bill Haney versus Norman Sr. on Boxing Voice late last night. It was entertaining. Oh my God, that combination, those two coming together, I can already imagine. Because Bill Haney is an elite level trash talker. And Brian Norman Sr. is also an elite level trash talker. So when you put them two together, I can already imagine, bro. I can already imagine. Young Guns, Jay Smith. Who you think is the best DR boxer? I mean, I think right now I have to say Carlos Adames. And by the way, I felt Adames beat Hamza Shiraz. I really did. If you watch that fight, the way that it played out, that draw, it felt like it was a gift for Hamza. But Shiraz redeemed himself by absolutely battering Edgar Berlanga. But again, I have to say, from the Dominican Republic, we have a lot of real good fighters. We recently had 3 world champions simultaneously, but 2 of them lost. But I will say right now, coming out of the Dominican Republic, the best professional fighter is Carlos El Bronco Adames. It has to be. And by the way, he is all about that smoke. When Canelo was at 160 and he was at 154, he was dying to get that fight. He wanted to move up to fight Canelo, but they wasn't trying to give him that opportunity. And I even said, what if Terence Crawford decides to go down to 160? Carlos Adames holds a title in this division. So let's see how it plays out, but that's the answer. El Bronco. He's the guy. Young Guns, Turkey dropped off a couple envelopes to the judges. Look, I'm not going to go as far as saying that, but I will say we saw something in that fight that I didn't like and a lot of people criticized along with me. If you recall, when they was like in round number 9 or round number 10, I don't remember. His Excellency Turkey Al-Sheikh, between rounds, he went to Shiraz's corner. And he told him, he's losing, you're losing. 2 points. Come on now. And when he did that, coincidentally, the camera was on him. But if you remember that fight, throughout the fight, you saw Turkey, like from the wide camera angle that sees the whole ring, you will see Turkey in the background getting up and walking towards the corner and walking back. He did that probably like 2 or 3 times. And then that one time, there happened to be a camera right next to him, so the mic caught what he was saying. That I didn't like, and I'm going to tell you why. His Excellency Turkey Al-Sheikh is the guy. You're the guy putting on this whole thing right here. You're the guy cutting the checks. What do you think the judges are going to do when they see that you favor this fighter? When they see that you're there talking to that team and saying, yo, do this, do that. That right there puts pressure on the judges. And if any round is close, they're going to give it to him. And even if they have to cook the cards after the fight. oh shit, wait a minute, this guy won. Let me change this couple of rounds right here. But His Excellency Turkey al-Sheikh made it clear who he was rooting for. Okay, nothing wrong with that. But for you to go give the score out, that's insider information. You're not supposed to do that. Both teams assume what's happening in a fight. Both teams assume we're winning, assume we're losing, but they don't actually know. But once you go to a fighter and you say something that can dictate, that will dictate what he's going to do moving forward. Because now he knows. It's not the same as thinking. He knows. And even with His Excellency Turkey al-Sheikh doing what he did, I felt like Carlos Adames won that fight. Not because he's Dominican and I'm Dominican, just because he put all type of hands on Hamza Shiraz. He outboxed him. JJ said that has Jay Smith talking about Crawford. What happened about all that with the cops? So there, as of right now, there's an investigation. There's an internal investigation to see what happened, why they did that. That's what we know thus far. But there's two versions out there, right? Watch this. The cops' version was that they saw a gun in the floor, or next to Crawford somewhere, and they pulled their guns out because they saw a gun. But there's a guy who was in the car, Crawford's security, who said they did not see no gun. Crawford told them, I have a gun, a legal gun. And as soon as he told them, they pulled out on him. And then they saw it, but he told them. There's an investigation. We'll see how that plays out. I think those cops, I think everybody involved in that whole situation needs to be fired. Make an example out of them goofballs. The Hydro Grind. And boxing doesn't have open scoring. So it's unfair that one fighter knows how scoring is going and the other fighter has no clue. Of course not. Definitely not fair. He's giving Hamza Shiraz an unfair advantage by telling him the score. JJ's in the house. Effing bull. He has a permit for that. But that's what I'm saying. He was legally carrying a firearm and still had guns drawn on him. That's nasty work. Nasty work, my peoples. How do you... And I said it before. The first day I said this. They did that on purpose. Maybe they don't like him. Maybe something happened. I don't know. But you're telling me the most famous athlete in Omaha, Nebraska, they pulled him over. They didn't know who that was. We just had a parade for him this same day. We were just blocking streets for this guy. His posters all over the place. And they didn't know who he was. And even when they pulled him over and already knew who he was, they still kept pointing guns at him. You telling me what exactly do you think the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world was going to do with that gun? You think he was headed for a bank robbery? You think he was headed for a stick-up? What exactly you think Terrence Crawford was going to do with that gun? With his security sitting right behind him. With his personal security sitting behind him. What was he supposed to be doing? What do you suspect as a police officer he was going to do with that gun? Corey B. I live in the U.S. and police can pull guns without being fired. So, Corey B., that is correct. They can pull out guns without being fired. But oftentimes, they do get fired for pulling out guns. The problem is, Corey B., that, and let me tell you something, let me point something out. I grew up in the U.S., my brother. I grew up in New York City. So, what you're saying is not accurate. It's right and wrong at the same time, and I'm going to tell you why, Corey B. Police officer, I'm going to say what you meant to say. Police officers get away with pulling out guns on people all the time and not get fired. They get away with it, but they not supposed to. there's a protocol that they're supposed to follow. Police officers are not supposed to pull out a gun if there isn't a threatening situation. That's why they always use that phrase that they were scared for their life, so they had to pull it. You're scared for your life, so you had to pull out a gun. But there's a protocol that they need to follow to pull out a gun. So, what is your suspicion or what is your fear that the heavyweight champion of the heavyweight champion that the undisputed champion of the world is gonna do with that gun? What exactly do you think he's gonna do? Superman. Yes, they do, because it happens here. They be lying. And the thing is, they got caught on video. If the person sitting in the back of Crawford's car would not have pulled out their phone and started recording, it would have been their words against them. Them people would have had a whole report. Them people would have had a whole report about how they had to pull out the gun because Crawford was reaching, and when he reached, they had to do it quick. They didn't know what he was gonna do with it. But they can't lie, there's a video. Somebody recorded the whole shit. Somebody recorded as Terrence Crawford was talking to you calmly, and two of you kept pointing your guns. This guy's sitting there, calm, just had a parade, world champion, and you pointing your guns. Yeah, they need to be fired. Make an example of them goofballs. JJ Sendeja, there is nothing happening in Nebraska but Crawford and college football. Come on, man. Crawford put Nebraska in the map. Because guess what? There's a lot of people who love boxing, who never watched a football game in their life. Never seen a football game in their life. Because that's what you got to understand. Football is huge in the USA. Football is not a huge sport around the world. Most countries don't even have a football league. But boxing, that's a worldwide sport. Terrence Crawford beat Canelo Alvarez in front of 40 million people around the globe. JJ said that has Jay Smith. You just practiced the future Crawford being, you just predicted Crawford being the future heavyweight champ. Whoa. Hold on 1 second. I'm not going to say all that. I'm not going to say all that. Crawford is, I don't know what he's going to do next. I would like for him to go down to 160 and fight Carlos Adames here in the Dominican Republic. So I could go watch that shit live and call it for you guys. The odds are highly against that happening, but I'd like to see it happen. That's for sure. My peoples, I want to thank everybody who tuned in to this episode of Boxing for Breakfast. Appreciate you guys sharing your opinion. Whether you agree with me or not, I always appreciate it. Before I end this show, I want to give you guys the last words of the day. The J. Stradamus words of the day. You know I can't leave you without that. This how I'm going to start this off. My peoples, eat your motherfucking fruits. Eat your motherfucking fruits. Your body is your temple. And if you don't take care of your body, it's going to catch up in a very bad way. So, eat fruit, my peoples. There is nothing better for your body. Understand that fruit comes from the, natural fruit. You know, not that fake stuff that they got out there. Not that genetically modified stuff that they got out there. I'm talking about real fruit. It comes from the earth. And it's the closest that you can get to having to having that, to having that it factor within your body. So, and I say eat fruit to say take care of your health, my peoples. No matter how much success you experience, no matter how many things you have, if your health is not there, your ass is cooked. You are completely cooked. Okay? So take care of your health, my peoples. That is very important. Without it, I'm going to put it to you like this. Last year, I felt ill and I got hospitalized and I was in intensive care for a week. And during that time in intensive care, I didn't know if I was going to make it or not. It was a tough situation. And guess what? While I was in the hospital, never for one moment did I think about my car. Did I think about how much money I got in the bank? Did I think about what I want to do, the things I want to buy? The whole time I was in intensive care, I just wanted to live, my peoples. That's it. I just wanted to be alive. I didn't want to die. That's it. So, if you don't take care of your health, eventually you're going to find out that nothing else matters if you don't have your health. Nothing matters. So in the process of doing whatever it is that you're trying to do in life, whether you're working, whether you're grinding, hustling, whatever you're doing, make sure you take some time to take care of your health. Eat a damn banana every day, one banana, or eat an orange. Try to incorporate fruit into your diet, my peoples. And if you do that, you will feel better. And stop eating as much junk food. That gets you a step closer to your grave. There you have it, my peoples. That's the J. Stradamus words of the day. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Shout out to Superman, JJ Zendejas, everybody who tuned in, man. I really appreciate y'all, man. Y'all know what we do. We talking boxing. Make sure to tune in tomorrow. The Hydro Grind was also in the building. Young Guns was in the building. It's your boy JB was in the building. I appreciate every one of you, man. Tomorrow, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Boxing for Breakfast is going to be back on, my peoples. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. You already know what it is. Bam. Hablamos mañana, mi gente. Yo me voy de aquí.